here. Oh, but we'll see who's start. Hammer or sword start. If it's sword start, we'll know immediately because Uncle will give it to. We'll go to Stoops Longhouse.
But it does not look like it is a sword start. But we are going to get the fire rod in the first chest.
I mean, that's interesting because with that we'll get another weapon, which is kind of nice, but that doesn't include a magic refill. So maybe we'll get a magic refill with one of the canes, and then the fire rod will actually be what we end up using.
Yeah, it'd be interesting at this point if they got bombs, because then it wouldn't still give them that much of an advantage, because like you said, they don't have any magic to use the fire rod. But it's Cane of Burn.
Best cane in the game that is now going to sit and not do anything because we have the fire rod as a start and a moon pearl. What is this seed so far?
I don't think we've seen a single garbage item yet.
It's all right. The garbage floweth. Randomizer will always deliver the garbage.
That is true. I'm calling it now. CAC is going to be completely empty.
I've seen a couple garbage Kakariko, and I would be super excited for that.
Yeah, it's where people expect to find a lot of progression there, but when it's empty, it kind of throws you for a loop a little bit.
A little bit, but, we've seen a couple runners end up, skipping Kakariko early on in the game, and it really just increases the hype.
Yeah, it's not too often you see that, but there's our first garbage item, just a blue fiber.
We knew the garbage would come. We knew it.
Yeah, we'll see if these runners are going to manage to farm a bomb or not as they make their way down here.
All right, so as we're going through here, they're running pretty neck and neck right now. We just synced up to make sure their timers were right there. I feel a little bit cheated there. Furaime did miss a fire rod shot, and let me tell you, every bit of magic is absolutely precious. That one fire rod shot was really not good for Furaime there.
Right. He may opt to use the pots in the basement to kill the ball and chain guard instead, but we'll see what he does. Looks like Wulfy, on the other hand, has still got a good amount of magic left.
Yeah, I completely expected Wulfy to do that, and you made the right call with Furaime there. We get our second dungeon item in the key, so we have both the key and the map already, so every other treasure chest here has something of value, maybe?
Potentially, but yeah, no sanctuary skip for us today. At least Sanct Chest, anyway.
The problem we're going to run into is Furaime has, I think, 1 or 2 shots left with the fire rod. Wulfy has, I think, 4. And we're running into a situation where we still don't have bombs, so they're going to have to be really careful with these fire rod shots. You're going to need at least 1 in order to beat that, the final boss of the sewer escape, the sewer rat.
Definitely a boss level enemy indeed. And there are a couple of small magic refills on the way through the sewers, but it's not a lot, so we'll see what Furaime opts to do.
Wulfy using kind of traditional strats there. When you're low on magic, go ahead and use these pots, because for whatever reason, pots do same damage as Temper Sword when you smash it into someone's face. And no bomb stress, or no bombs yet, though. All right, so Wulfy, the first one through this escape sequence, is not opting to pick up some extra magic that is in the sewer. Furaime is going to show us one of the magic areas and then use that. And ropes are not giving us bombs for Wulfy.
Yeah, Sewer's being pretty stingy with its bombs today.
Furaime is opting not to fire anything towards those ropes. So at this point is either hoping beyond all hope that there's going to be a bomb in that chest, which there wasn't. Might go up here to the rat corner. Yep.
But only manages to get 2 rats.
Yeah, this is too bad. Neither runner really finding anything. And Wulfy pulled the cane out because he could use less magic and kill more things. That's really a heads-up play there. Furaime still hunting for something. Wulfy does not find any bombs, and I don't think Furaime is going to either. This is really interesting because both the runners probably feel a little bit bad about not finding anything. Let's see if Furaime finds anything. No.
Just
okay.
A heart.
No bombs, no dreams, but that's actually good news for both of these runners. Remember, it's not necessarily about what you do, it's about what your opponent doesn't do. The fact that both of these runners weren't able to find any bombs and escape really isn't going to penalize them. It might be interesting because if there's something of value back there behind that bombable wall, the first one to go back there might feel, they'll feel behind because they didn't get it, but they might actually be ahead.
Right, it's interesting what can happen with, what you're thinking is going on in the race, because you always assume that your opponent has done everything, but it's not always the case. We got our first map check. It looks like red crystals at Hera and Eastern, but I missed what was at Desert.
I think Desert was also crystal. And hey, look, we have some mossy bombs just kind of sitting out there. Yeah, it was a bit nice a little bit ago.
But it looks like we're going to get the Lumberjack ledge check from Furaime here, so we're going to know what's up there pretty quick.
Yeah, Wulfy opted to skip Lumberjack ledge, at least for now, and Furaime has the knowledge that it is garbage up there. Just a bomb capacity upgrade.
Yep, definitely not going to be coming back for that. But we do have Wulfy entering Kakariko at this point, which there's a good amount of items in here, so hopefully they find something.
Yeah, there are 3 bombable walls, at least through Kakariko proper. We might need to also get another bomb, at least for the racing maze. But we'll see what Wulfy ends up finding. He will likely end up having to make a purchase for bombs on his way out south.
Well, we got blue mail and plenty of rupees, so purchasing bombs wouldn't be too bad at this point.
The blue mail is nice, but runners of this caliber, I think, are used to NMG, where you're doing it with green mail. There's some more bombs. Still late, guys.
Nope, the bombs are not in the sewers. They're all outside.
Every single one of them. This is not V for Vendetta. The bombs are not in the sewers, guys.
All right, we got Wulfy heading over to the well as Furaime enters back for the first time. There it is, folks. The one single arrow.
And the magic powder, the single arrow of Evil's Bane, you have a little bit of love, a little bit of money, a lot of money. This Kakariko is garbage.
Yep. I knew that the beginning was too good to be true. Well, Ice Rod is okay, I guess. At least you know you won't have to go hunting for it.
Yeah, but we have both rods this early and 3 crystals in the light world, which means there's an increased likelihood that Turtle Rock is going to be a pendant, but we do get our lift upgrade. It'll be really interesting to see how quickly these runners end up going back to that back of escape.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see where they decide to route that in. And Wulfy is opting to go ahead and buy some more bombs. No surprise there.
Yeah, that's completely expected from these runners. Yeah, and it is another crystal down in Desert Palace, so 3 crystals, just confirming that.
Yep, so we're gonna see all three of the pendants in the Dark World. So yeah, you're right. There's a good chance it could be Turtle Rock, which always seems to be the case with early Ice Rod.
Early Ice Rod. I mean, the only thing we need for access, of course, is Hammer, the Titansmiths, and then a sword and a medallion at some point in time. But we already have significant access already. I'd be a little nervous if I were these runners about a pendant Turtle Rock and more bombs in the race game.
Yep, really all the bombs outside. And we also just had a big 20 on the library ledge, so not going to see them coming back for that either.
Nope. And as expected, Wulfy immediately, after the safe quit, he's like, nah, we're going to do the back of escape. I'm a little nervous. And it'll be interesting to see what we find. If it's garbage like the rest of Kakariko, or if it is eschewing closer to the tendencies of the early portion of the seed.
It is true. I'm going to call, though, 3 big 20s. That's my guess.
Oh, going for the slot machine. No, love. Big 20, a little bit of love. So it was Vegas. It was Vegas.
Definitely Vegas. Just 1 of 3.
Furaime, meanwhile, is opting to not check and immediately dives. That's, a play that I like to make. Whenever you are going through and you just have nothing in Kakariko, make the gamble that something of high value is going to be in the race game, and just bombs.
Looks like he's opting to pick him up, though.
Well, you gotta get the bomb back that you just wasted.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well. So they've got a couple of options at this point. After finishing up South Shore, depending on what we find, they could either sequence break Death Mountain or, take the standard route, go to Eastern.
I mean, really interesting at this point. I don't know if I would necessarily go ahead and sequence break yet. We are 1 item away from Dark World access. We just need either another lift upgrade or the hammer, and we have quite a bit of access opened up to us in the Dark World. So we'll see what Wulfy ends up doing here. We'll be doing Mini Moldorm Cave, and it'd be really interesting if we end up getting the hammer, if we do an immediate check over here to Hype Cave, which would be nice.
That is true. That would be a really convenient time to do it. It's the closest they're going to be, at least at this point. So. And by closest, I mean, they're going to be close to it. But just a piece of heart, arrows, piece of heart. There's the 10 bombs and the bow.
Okay, so that bow might be pulling them right over to the eastern area. It's not logically able to be completed, but we're only a lamp short. And at this point in the tournament, all of these runners can pretty clearly do dark rooms.
Right, they definitely should all be able to, but Wulfy's going to go ahead and go over to the Ice Rod Cave, and then, yeah, we'll see if he heads on up to Eastern.
All right, so Ice Rod Cave for Wulfy is going to be just 10 arrows.
Nothing big. But he is walking back down. It looks like he might be opting to, with the Moon Pearl in tow, he might go for the fake flipper.
Yeah, that looks like what Wulfy is doing. The Moon Pearl would absolutely be able to help him out there. That opens up the waterfall ferry as part of that, and he's setting up the bomb setup. It's been a long time since I've seen that bomb setup, but what you effectively end up doing is, because you cannot bomb between screen transitions, and the fake flippers requires you to be at the exact frame right next to it, so you just kind of throw a bomb, have it knock yourself right before a screen transition, and then you go down and you're fine.
Yep, it looks like he's going to check the hobo, and then we'll see if he reverses it and goes back down to Waterfall Cave. He might be banking on finding some more rupees so he can check Zora while he's up there.
And sets up the fake flipper back, so we'll be able to check that. Furaime getting ready to be disappointed in Ice Rod Cave, and also looks like setting up a fake flipper at this point.
Yeah, both of them making pretty similar calls. Ooh, the flute!
Oh, that's nice.
It's definitely interesting. Gonna have to find the flippers to get those, and the mirror.
Yeah, logically, so Misery Mire locked behind a few more items now, at least as far as we know. We see Furaime setting up the fake flipper, kind of doing it not quite as quickly as Wulfy. That bomb strat was really super nice, actually. He did waste a bomb. And, oh, the Waterfall Fairy had lots of love for us, and that's it.
Yep, it's the healthy cave for sure. But Wulfy gonna go ahead and go on up to Zora, check what's on the ledge, but doesn't have enough rupees, so he's not gonna be able to grab it quite yet. And just a big 20 on the ledge, so probably not gonna see him go back for that, but at some point we'll probably see Zora once they have a bit more money.
All right, so at this point, Wulfy on his way over here to Eastern Palace. Kind of, the problem is that both of these runners are doing the exact same thing, and right now that benefits Wulfy because he has kind of a straight line advantage over Furaime. We need to see some route divergence in order for Furaime to do any sort of catch up.
Well, it looks like we might be seeing it. Furaime is walking back down to the portal. Oh, did he not check the island? Okay.
Yeah, did check the island and now has that knowledge, but then going over to Hobo and will likely save a quit from here. There's the Titan's mitts. There's our Dark World access right there in the back of Sahasrahla's closet.
Yeah, definitely an interesting find. It does open up a couple of Dark World locations, but still really want to find that hammer to get to a lot of it as well.
Yeah, worth noting, with this particular setup, Aga is not yet dead. For whatever, I mean, if we have access to the Dark World using the Titan Smiths and the Moon Pearl, in order to get to the eastern portion of the Dark World, that's the Catfish area, the Pyramid, and all of Palace of Darkness, we will need either the hammer or the flippers to access that from the Dark World. So if both of those are locked in that portion of the Dark World, we could still see an Aga required seed. Just depends on where the items fall.
Yeah, so we'll have to make that call as, you know, we keep finding more items. But Wulfy getting the map, so not a lot so far. Well, the first chest in EP not being much.
Yeah, so Wulfy going ahead and diving in here. It'll be interesting to see if Furaime, with that Dark World access, immediately bugaboos out. No, going ahead to Eastern Palace looks... And Green Pendant is in Dark Palace. Furaime is doing that knowledge that you can do. If you talk with Sahasrahla, he will tell you what the Green Pendant is.
Yeah, it's not too often you see that in this form of the game, because usually you just check the map, but it was definitely a fun call. Now we have that knowledge. Just, I think that was some bombs on Wulfy's end, so...
Yeah, Eastern not really holding a whole lot for us at this point in time. You know, there's a couple advantages right now of doing Eastern Palace, even if there's nothing here. One, it's one of your 5/6 crystals, which always nice, A. B, you know, there is also that minor rupee room, just 5 arrow capacity upgrade for Wulfy. There's that minor rupee room that has just enough rupees to push these runners over the edge to be able to do Zora, if they so desire to go back there.
That is true. So we'll have to see if either of them opt for that, unless they, you know, find some more rupees on their way through here. And we're going to see Wulfy going for the dark room.
Yep, absolutely. Worth noting that these runners are not required to do any dark rooms by logic. The lamp is going to be somewhere else before any other dark room, so This is technically a sequence break. However, both of these runners more than capable enough to get through these dark rooms, although it's not as easy as it looks when you don't have a sword to kind of hold out in front of you to guide you through the dark rooms.
Yeah, without the sword, a boomerang, or the hook shot, it can be a little difficult, but we'll see. And there's the big key, as we know it should.
While we have a brief second, I do want to give a quick shout out to Reg, who's our tracker for the evening. Big shout out, Reg. You do work to make us look good. Thank you so much. I love you. Mwah.
Yeah, good guy, Reg.
All right, so Wulfy, now see, stuck a couple arrows into this Igor, so he knew exactly when he was going to move. He got the key and is on his way through, not stopping in that other treasure room to refill on rupees there.
Yeah, it can definitely be, you know, if you get off position in that room, it can be very hard to find the Igor again once he starts moving around. We'll see if Furaime is able to get through it as easily as Wulfy did.
Oh, that was swag. Burn stress. I really dug that by Wulfy. I'm not going to lie. Anytime we can find any sort of value with the Cane of Burna, it, you know, warms my heart a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I've not seen that one before, but that was really cool. Wulfy getting the beautiful quick kill there.
Yep. Quick kill there for our first crystal at 22 minutes, which is nice. The problem was we didn't really find any progression here in Eastern Palace, so while you got a crystal, you might think maybe this wasn't the right call.
Right, but really it'll be nice to just have it out of the way and know you don't have to come back, especially if they don't find the mirror for a long time. It can be a long trek out there. Especially since we know that the flute is mirror locked, so they would have to walk a long ways to get there.
And Furaime also using the swag strats. I swear they're not watching each other, and they're not listening. They did this 15 minutes ago.
Yes, indeed. So there's very little chance of that.
Furaime looks like has the alternate quick kill strat and gets the bombs. Wulfy on his way over to the Dark World now.
Yep, and should be getting a map check pretty quick. Hopefully.
I see some questions in chat about what I just said. Yeah, there for brackets, this is a new rule instituted by Speed Gaming to ensure that no one is stream sniping one another. Oh, hook shot for Wulfy.
Wow.
But yeah, that 15-minute delay was instituted, so they started already so that they can't stream snipe. We are a little bit behind. Even if you go over to their streams, they're also, I mean, it's also delayed, so no stream sniping going on. It's one of the loss prevention tools that was happening.
Well, there's our money for Zora.
Does hook open up Eastern Dark World? No. You can hook shot from the eastern side to the west side, but you can't hook the other side back. We still are looking for either flippers or hammer. We see our pendants are in Pod, Ice Palace, and Misery Mire.
Wow, so Turtle Rock is going to be required, so having those rods is going to be real nice.
All right, so Wulfy is going to start by, it looks like prioritizing some overworld here, is going down here and going to do the digging game. I imagine we might see a Jeremiah World Tour here almost immediately after, without dipping into any of the dungeons. Oh, the mirror!
Wow. Well, so much for, finding the mirror late, because there it is. It'll be interesting to see how quickly they end up going for that flute, or if they go for the flute, because Misery Mire not being required, you don't necessarily need it, but it is a lot faster to have it.
And Wulfy with the heads-up play, hey, I got the mirror. I'm going to immediately go over here and turn in Jeremiah.
Yeah, definitely a good call. And it wouldn't surprise me to see a bat check either, because even though we don't have the hammer, you can get to the other side of that peg with the mirror.
Absolutely true. Wulfy opting to turn in Jeremiah first. Furaime is diving into Thieves Town. It is a crystal dungeon. So if there's some sort of value here, we might see Furaime take a bit of an advantage. This is our first real route divergence here. Wulfy opting to prioritize the overworld. Meanwhile, Furaime diving another dungeon.
Yep, and we are going to see Wulfy make that magic bat check.
With this particular item loadout, whenever I get early powder, I'm always worried about Magic Bat. And it's just a big 20 now.
Yep, not a concern this seed, but I definitely feel you there. Oh, and the boots! It is time to go fast for sure.
Absolutely. Now, this is interesting. Wulfy did lose his portal, so he's going to have to walk back. That is one of the downsides to this particular routing, but he does get to turn in Sick Kid in the meantime.
And just 100 rupees.
Guys, money is the root of all evil. That is what is making the Sick Kid sick. Clearly, you should just donate all of your money to charity or to me. Just let me know.
Definitely. But we're going to see Furaime going and doing the check that Wulfy already did and get his mirror as well. Meanwhile, Wulfy is going to go turn in that purple chest. We'll see if he opts to go back into the Dark World and pick up the flute while he's here.
Well, no flippers, and kind of difficult to get fake flippers from that direction.
That is true. I totally spaced out on the flippers.
It's all right. We fake flippered earlier, so that's reasonable. Wulfy, meanwhile, going over here and doing one of our Sphere 1 location checks in Agina's cave. It's been a while since we've been over here. Be interesting.
Yeah, it's a location that can definitely, elude you for a while if you don't check it. And it being Sphere 1, there could be anything really here. Alright, we see Wulfy going back up to the Sanctuary. Now, with the way he's moving, it looks like he might be either going up Death Mountain or checking the Lumberjack Ledge.
Yeah, Wulfy did not check the Lumberjack Ledge earlier, but I doubt he's going there. Yeah, he's going right up Death Mountain. Again, another sequence break was because we can't quite get up there yet, as far as Wulfy knows. Furaime is able to do this kind of south Dark World check, K45, Stumpy, see if anything is here.
Yeah, and with the hookshot, it's going to be a bit easier to feel your way through the room and figure out where you're at. A sword is still ideal for this, but it is possible with hookshot as well.
We also didn't get a hype cave check, did we, while Wulfy was over in this area, because he opted to avoid the Dark World in this area.
That is true, but it looks like we might be getting Furaime checking it instead.
Oh, the suspense. All right, chat, get your guesses in. What kind of hype cave are we getting?
Well, given the rest of the seeds so far, I'm going to say a 2.
All right, a little bit of love. And then big 20 bombs. A little bit of love. 300. Man, that's garbage.
Yeah, other than the money, not really that hype, so heck, I'd even give it a 1 instead of a 2.
Oh, I mean... Ew. Yeah, that's a 1. Maybe. I mean, it only could have been worth, like, if it would have had a single rupee, then I would give it a 0. Like, at least the 300 you can buy a potion with it, if you really want to.
However, we are going to see the other kind of hype-generating cave, Paradox Cave. 7 items in it. So hopefully this will make up for the lack of hype cave. And there's the single rupee, another piece of heart, and the cane.
I mean, okay, that's clearly better than hype cave, but and a wavy coin and a hammer. Okay,
there it is. That's the real hype cave this run.
That just became like 10 of 10 hype. Paradox cave.
Well, that opens up a lot of options for Wulfy.
Now, the question becomes, what's our access to Death Mountain at this point? Because this is technically a sequence break. We don't have, mushroom on the ledge.
Oh,
we don't have either the lamp or the flute yet. And flute, we still need the flippers.
Yeah, we're probably going to be finding one of those 2 items pretty quick here. As Chad is pointing out, though, it is possible that the seed expected you to do Aga, and there's Bombos. It's possible the seed could have expected you to do Aga, go east side, and find Lamp over there. Or, no. Never mind, you need Lamp for Aga.
Yeah, you need Lamp for Aga, so Aga's still dead. In fact, Aga is officially dead as a doornail.
Indeed.
I mean, he's not dead yet. He will be. We're getting there. That's the point of the game.
Wulfy getting the nice block clip there to skip that first part of Super Bunny Cave.
Alright, so the other single arrow at Super Bunny Cave. Another 5 bomb capacity upgrade.
Oh, and there's the lamp on Death Mountain.
So that means our flippers must be... Oh god, our flippers must actually be in front of a dark room somewhere. Oh my god, my head hurts with this logic.
Yeah, this is an interesting one for sure. There's not a lot of places that those flippers could be, but it'll be interesting to see where it's at.
I think at this point, the only 2 places that those flippers can logically be at this point are going to be either in the back half of Thieves Town or in the front part of Skullwoods, because we haven't seen Skullwoods at all yet either.
Yeah, I think you're right. I can't think of any other places myself either, so... It could also be Zora.
Vanilla flippers is rude, and I approve.
Well, Wulfy getting his mushroom fetch quest item.
Do you want to do a fetch quest?
That was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard.
Have you not heard the full song?
I don't believe I have, no.
Oh God. I don't know, Chad. Should I? Should we infect Darkened Sky with the full song? We'll wait until he turns in the.
I guess that will come when it comes. But there's the small key in the Tower of Hera for Wulfy, so... If the big key is not in this next chest, we're gonna have to do the basement.
Oh God, people are donating!
Wow.
I did not expect that. Now I feel obligated.
You gotta do it.
All right, the highest donation gets to choose, so keep on going. Keep on going. We got everyone for the sing. Okay. All right. Let me get some water, clear the pipes.
I'm ready.
Do you want to do a fetch quest? Or maybe do a T-Rock dive? You know it could be anywhere. Pull out your hair. It's going to be fine. It could be in vanilla, but probably not. I wish you would just decide. Do you want to do a fetch quest? It doesn't have to be a fetch quest. Okay, bye.
That was amazing.
Here's the second verse, by the way, that we're going to need some more donations before I pull out the second verse. I'm just going to put that out there.
So yeah, if you want to hear the rest of that, definitely go for it.
All right, Hookshot Cave has not been anything.
Yeah, Wulfy was there earlier, and not a lot coming out of it other than that mushroom.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm a bit
Create
distracted by
awesome
all the...
riot. I'm not trying to meme myself into the game here, guys. Seriously. I love you all. I will say that. You guys are why I do this.
It definitely would not be the same without a fun chat, that's for sure. But we are going to see Wulfy doing our first set of Trolldorm for the day.
All right, so Moldorm, and there's our Bombos Medallion. We haven't done anything up here on Turtle Rock, and just a big 20. So there's our other 5/6 crystal. All right, all right. All right, I feel obligated now.
It's a good downtime. Go for it.
Second verse. Do you want to do a fetch quest? We gotta think that pot is blocked. Death Mountain check is overdue. Just be careful that you dodge all those dead rocks. Catfish is getting lonely, so make your move. Stop watching the time tick by. Do you want to do a fetch quest? Okay, bye.
Awesome. I love it. I need to get this song.
I swear, Dr. Bob and I are going to put together like a greatest hits album for Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past Randomizer. It's gonna happen.
I will definitely be there or watching, listening when it does.
Yeah, that one wasn't as good, I fully admit.
Anyway, coming back to the runners, it looks like Wulfy's going to go ahead and do... he's got the hammer. He's probably going to go over the eastern side of the Dark World, I would guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Pod is going to be the right play. It's another crystal. I mean, he could also be routing in over here to do the Pyramid Fairy and also check that and the pyramid itself, because we haven't had a pyramid check yet.
I believe this will be the first we've seen of Eastern Dark World, but it'll be interesting to see what the sequence is. Where are those flippers?
Oh god, that got clipped. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for inflicting that upon the world. Anyway, so Furaime is also doing Tower of Hera. Wulfy on their way to the Pyramid Fairy. Yeah, I think we've decided at this point in time that the entirety of flippers, which is kind of preventing the logical access here at this point, is really got to be in the back of Thievestown or in Skullwoods, both of which are completely clearable right now, but both runners opted to not do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see when they decide to go back for that. Also, it's not too often that you have both the 5 and 6 crystals as the first crystals.
Oh, and vanilla. Yeah, vanilla flippers. I keep forgetting vanilla flippers. I'm sorry, chat. Thank you for correcting me.
So yeah, 3 spots. And we're going to see Wulfy check the ledge for the bloomerang.
The most important item? No, that's not even. I can't even pretend.
Furaime also was a really good Moldorm fight, though. Now with the mirror, looks like Wulfy's going to go up and do Catfish, potentially turn in Mushroom on his way by. Yep. So we're gonna get Catfish, Mirror, or Catfish, Mushroom, and Zora all in one go.
Hey, I mean that seems fair. Oh, Graveyard Ledge can have flippers too. Thank you, Julim. Thank you so much for that. Furaime is doing a Spike Cave check. I don't think we saw Wulfy. The fetch quest gave us Fisher Price, My First Shield. So, all of that, like, build up for a Fisher Price shield. And Furaime finds another Fisher Price shield!
Wow, there's another one. Fisher Price shield by itself not being great, but once you find a couple more, it ends up being pretty handy.
Wah, 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 wah.
Well, hopefully Catfish yields something useful. Or Zora.
Well, we'll see here. Furaime looks like on his way back to the Dark World.
Well, Furaime also going back into Thievestown.
I'm really hoping that this is going to close our kind of logic loophole at this point in time. We're going to find the flippers. We're going to have access to Skullwoods. We're going to have logical access to Ice Palace if we really want it. Although we don't really want to go there right now.
Right, definitely not completely ideal, but possible still.
Zora giving us the clothes off his back. Those are Don't know what to say about those.
Don't really know if I would want those. But with flippers, we are now just down to Graveyard Ledge and Skullwoods and Thieves Town.
I mean, that's better value than Zora typically gives us, so I can't really complain.
It's true, it's not a total scam.
Yeah, we're in the wrong game. You know, Breath of the Wild is where the Zoras give us clothes. This is not the right place for that.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild, Ocarina of Time, one of the two.
I guess the Zoras do give you clothes in a lot of the games after they stop being bad guys.
Yeah, I think that is true. There's the Grove Ledge. I don't know if it was checked earlier by Furaime or not, but just an arrow capacity upgrade.
So our wonderful tracker pointing out Furaime did check King's Tomb and Bonk Rocks, but because it was in the light world, was not able to check the Graveyard Ledge. So that's another possible item location. And because Hammer is locked behind the flipper sequence, we do know that the flippers will absolutely not be in this big treasure chest. It might be on blind, but not in this treasure chest right here.
That is true. Looks like Furaime opted to skip that chest, though.
Wulfy also diving Thieves Town right now. First dip into Thieves Town by Wulfy.
Yeah, and he'll find his boots there, so that'll be useful.
Here's a question we haven't asked yet. Where are the swords?
That is another good question. One of the more important items in the game, and not found.
Oh, we got B strats on blind, so we're going to see the B is actually going to chase off ahead of blind. I love B strats on blind.
Yeah, it's definitely a reliable one, and just the compass on blind, so no flippers.
I think Furaime actually counted the items so that we know that that's it. We're done.
Yeah, he must have, since we're not going back in for that big chest. Furaime gonna relieve his sick kid of his evil money burden.
You know, I always support the redistribution of wealth, I'm not gonna lie.
Now Furaime coming back over here to check hammer pegs, now that we have that. But without a sword, not going to be able to hammer dash, so he'll have to do this the normal way.
Yeah, that's worth pointing out, actually, that the hammer dash is one of those things that is the reason why we used the Japanese version in the ROM hack, because it was not available in the American version, but does require that we have the sword in order to be able to do it.
Yeah, there's that and a couple of other exclusive tricks. I believe Fake Flipper is a JP trick only, is it?
I think so. I'm not entirely... I haven't tried it on the American version recently. And by recently, I mean I haven't played the American version since I was 10, so... take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, so both of the runners right now just kind of following in each other's footsteps, checking what the other already has.
All right, so at this point, we've determined logically that the flippers, because of certain logical inconsistencies, etc., can only be in Skullwoods. And it looks like Furaime's going back into the Dark World, likely going in that direction.
Yeah, won't be able to clear Skullwoods itself unless we find a sword in there. So we'll probably be coming back.
Yeah, for those of you just tuning in, so the logic that we're dealing with is that the flute is on the Lake Hylia Island, which requires the flippers and the mirror. We have the mirror. We did sequence breaks in order to get up to Death Mountain, which up on Death Mountain we were able to find the hammer, the hook. I mean, we found so much stuff up on Death Mountain.
There's a sword too for Furaime.
So the second item absolutely has to be. Well, or either that or Graveyard Ledge. But yeah, long story short, because our access up to Death Mountain is either the flute or the lamp, and we found lamp up on locked behind Death Mountain, the only way for us to be able to get up on Death Mountain was to be able to get the flute, and the flute requires the flippers, which means the flippers also locked our East Death Dark World access. Brain breaking later, these runners are doing all of this logic check on the fly. I mean, it hurts our heads while we're sitting here talking about it and not doing anything else.
Right, it's very impressive that they can probably keep track of all of that while this happens. Wulfy doing a very nice Mario strat fight against Blind.
Samaria strats are slower, but they're absolutely safer, I would say. Furaime, with the sword, now that's probably what Furaime was waiting on, a sword to do Skull Woods, because you have to have a sword to slash that particular curtain, which might be the exact reason Wulfy is not going up to Skull Woods right now, going to be checking up here at the bumper ledge. I will say that was a bit of a gamble by Furaime to go up to Skull Woods without the sword. There's our second shield on bumper ledge, but we do have a fighter sword Mothula fight, which is... if you've ever done it, fun?
Yeah, it can be pretty interesting for sure. If it goes slightly wrong, then you can have a lot of trouble, but Furaime making it look easy.
And there's another crystal, so Furaime doing well. 4 crystals already to Wulfy's 2. 3, I'm sorry. Thieves Town also. I'm a little bit jealous. I'm not gonna lie. That was a smooth moth there.
Yeah, looks like he's put in a lot of practice for that fight, I'm sure.
Absolutely. So we're getting both checks on the locations of where the flippers could be. Is it Furaime in this treasure chest or Wulfy in the Graveyard Ledge?
The last 2 spots, both happening at once. And it's neither... Did Furaime skip any chests in Skullwoods?
I think Furaime must have. I'm like, what? Yeah, we still haven't found the second item in Skullwoods yet, I think.
Okay, good, because otherwise this would be a pretty interesting scene.
Chat saying flippers don't exist in the seed. No, I promise they exist. They just may not be where you find them conveniently. There they are. And Furaime going to go ahead and save and quit. That was the second item. Is done. So our logic gap is closed now, and Furaime knows it. Wulfy is doing what? Are you doing, Wulfy?
You could be going for that fake flipper. Does he have a fairy? Because you do need a fairy for that. Looks like he actually might be going over to do pod, though.
That's interesting. Furaime looks like is making a similar play going over to pod, although with a sword is going to have a slightly easier time. Nope, wait. Gotta close that logic gap.
Yeah, I gotta pick up that flute first for sure. So it wouldn't surprise me to see him go there afterwards, because it is clearable at this point.
It is clearable. It is a green pendant.
That is true. It is a pendant. I forgot.
But it's a green pendant, so even though it has 5 items, you get that 6th bonus item from Sahasrara, which is right here. It is kind of interesting, worth noting, with our item loadout, what we have it right now. Desert Palace is clearable.
Mm-hmm.
Swamp Palace is clearable. And Turtle Rock is clear, as we're just waiting on the Ether Medallion. We are a Master Sword and an Ether Medallion from Go Mode.
Yeah, only about 55 minutes. That's a pretty good time, but we'll see what Wulfy finds diving the Green Pendant pod.
What's Furaime doing?
Looks like he's going for the bomb duplication.
Oh, that's impressive. I have not seen that bomb dupe before. That's that's a minor sequence break, obviously, but wow, very nicely done, Furaime.
Yeah, it just gives you the small advantage of being able to move fast through that second screen.
Meanwhile, Wulfy working his way through the Palace of Darkness. Worth noting that, remember, in Palace of Darkness, the front 6 treasure chests, 4 of them must be keys. So if you can kind of logic your way through it, you can avoid doing this treasure chest that Wulfy is doing if you can figure it out if it's going to be there or not. And I agree, Wandering Keeper. This game is so well programmed.
Oh, yeah.
Early 90s Super Nintendo programming at its peak.
And there's the bug net, so, if you want to catch a fairy at the last minute now, you can go for it.
If I recall, Wulfy actually, when he made a stop at the Witch's Hut, ended up purchasing a bunch of blue goo so that he wouldn't have to make another stop later.
Yeah, speaking of potion shops, looks like Furaime's opting to skip that second shield there. He's just going to finish this out with the Fisher-Price shield.
So Wulfy going into the back half. Oh, and there's Ether!
There it is.
That's the required item. Now, Wulfy, not technically in Go mode, still looking for those flippers. He's got to know logically where those are, though.
Now, what's interesting about that is it could take Furaime a very, very long time to find that, because he can clear so many of the crystal dungeons at this point. It could be a while before he goes there.
Yeah, it's all a matter of, does Wulfy logically know where the flippers are? He should, because, not to put myself down too much, but I'm an idiot, and I know where the flippers were logically. I gotta think that Wulfy also knows, and he just kind of skipped the area, at least for the time being.
Yeah, luckily this pod play is going to end up paying off either way, since we do need that ether, but we'll see what happens as this progresses onward. There's the silver arrows.
Nice. I mean, especially because we haven't found a whole lot of swords, and Wulfy hasn't found any swords yet. And I really think that's what's keeping Wulfy from going over to Skullwoods right now. Maybe it's just hoping for a sword.
It is possible, but he's going to have to make his way there eventually. He's going to run out of places to check.
And Furaime starts our unlocking of our teleportation method. If you are so inclined, rise for the Swag Duck National Anthem, #Neil.
Which, unfortunately, we cannot hear any of this time around. And Furaime jumping straight over to the mire area.
Well, at this point, can check the ledge, and that's Quake to get into Mire. I mean, I really hope Furaime does not dive in to do Mire right now. It is logically clearable. Oh, another... can I say it this time?
Go for it.
Stop in the cave of love.
Also beautiful. But Furaime, yeah, I was going to say earlier, I didn't think he was going for the Mire dive because it is the only way to desert right now.
Yeah, no book, so absolutely have to be here. Oh, it's the Love Shack. You're absolutely right. I should have done Love Shack for that one.
Wah, wah.
Oh, I missed an opportunity. Love Shack, baby. Love Shack, baby.
I don't know how to respond to that one.
Meanwhile, Wulfy, silver arrow to the crystal. Almost our king is dead.
Yep, and Furaime making pretty quick work of Desert Palace in the meantime as well. Now, does Wulfy... Well, probably. He's probably going to stop by on his way and turn in that green pendant since he is right here.
Might as well see what we got here. Hoping for a sword. I'm sure he's hoping for a sword at this point.
Yeah, that is something we do still need to find, though. But just a bottle.
Sahasrara says, "You look tired. Here, have my Gatorade."
Definitely helps.
Anything to hydrate yourself. You got to stay hydrated when you're, saving the world.
Gatorade or Code Red. Take your pick. It looks like Wulfy's going back over to the Western Dark World area. Hopefully he goes straight upwards. And he is.
So Wulfy is, depending on what he ends up finding, he'll find his sword and he'll find flippers. Depending on the order he finds himself in, he's going to be in pseudo-go mode before finding a single sword, which is odd. Okay, he found the sword first. That's fair.
Now, it's possible that we're not going to find any swords for a while. Like, there could be some in T-Rock, or they could be in Ganon's Tower itself. Meanwhile, we're also going to have Furaime checking the checkerboard cave. See what comes out of that. Again, he is just Ether, which we know is in Pod, and another sword away. And again, now both of our runners just kind of following in each other's footsteps. Furaime checking Nagina's cave.
Be real interesting to see where Furaime ends up going after this. We need that Ether Medallion that is in Palace of Darkness. That will be Furaime's foe mode. Might end up even doing Swamp Palace before dipping into Pod.
Yeah, as the only other crystal that he can finish at this point, it wouldn't surprise me to see that play at all, but he is starting on Death Mountain to get the quick flute away, never mind. Yeah, it looks like going to 4 and going down, he might be going for that swamp play right now.
All right, so Wulfy with that crystal will have to dip back in to get the flippers. Hopefully doesn't skip those because that's slightly vital. Furaime, in the meanwhile, is going into Swamp Palace.
Yep, so just a well drain and then small key, and then we'll start seeing what's in there. Now, depending on whether Furaime finds the sword or not, once he does make it go over to Pod, I don't know if we'll see him full clear, so he might not have silvers. Which means there's a potential of seeing a silverless fight from him.
Which would absolutely play to Wulfy's advantage, because right now we're looking at a Master Sword silverless fight, at the least, depending on how many swords are locked behind, so silvers would save just a ton of time right at the moment.
Yeah, but again, there's still plenty of opportunity to find some before we get to that point. But we'll see what goes down as Furaime just opens a big 20 in the front of Swamp. But it would not surprise me to see Furaime jump out of Pod once he does find him. And Wulfy finally getting his flippers.
And not immediately saving and quitting. Walking out, which is... Oh, and now saving and quitting. Okay. He's like, wait a second.
Realizing that's not quite the way he wanted to go.
So Wulfy looks like might also be setting up his Swamp Palace play as well, finally finding those flippers. That was an alliteration. Finally finding the flippers.
And he's going to go straight into Swamp, it looks like. And Furaime opting to skip the left side. Might come back for it afterwards, though.
I imagine so. Furaime's in the mode where when you're in Swamp Palace and you only have one item for go mode, you go ahead and do the back end first because you have to come back here anyway. You're going to opt to complete this, and if you find Ether, then you get lucky and you get to skip all of the left side. If not, you dive back in and have to go to the left side. It's kind of one of those end game routing decisions that you end up making. Opting to say, hey, if it's in the back end, I'm going to get it anyway.
Right, but in this case, we know it's not there, it's in Pod, but Furaime did find the book of Medora there, some literacy.
That might not be what they wanted to see, and oh no.
Well, that opens up a few spots. It opens up both the tablets, and then we can check what's on PED. I don't think it'll be anything unless, you know, Vanilla Sword would be the only useful thing at this point.
Yeah, guys, I'm not gonna sing it again. You can only sing it like so many times before it gets annoying.
And I must have missed it, but chat pointing out that Furaime got the shovel as well, so here's another.
Yeah, the Furaime is now doing the menu boss because you cannot damage the R guy with normal sword swings. You either have to spin with the fighter sword or menu over to do hammer, which is a bit cumbersome.
Right, but I do believe it would take 2 spins with the fighter sword to do away each one, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can usually get 2 hits with a spin, though, so it's not too bad. Argus just staring at us a little bit.
Yeah, Frame not quite getting the quick kill setup there, but does get it on the second cycle, which is still pretty nice.
And another Vitor. We've gotten, I think, all the bottles at this point in time.
Yep, so both of these runners are pretty close when it comes to dungeons. Wulfy still has to finish Desert, but again, Frame still has to find that Ether in Pendant Pod, so...
Yeah, that's significant. Meanwhile, Wulfy is effectively in go mode, is just looking for a sword, and I would imagine Wulfy will be able to gamble that there's a sword somewhere up in Ganon's Tower. He's got this, he's got Desert Palace, and up to Turtle Rock. I got it, even though Furaime is, you know, about a quarter of a dungeon ahead, at least in the street line, that Ether Medallion is going to put Wulfy at a significant edge a little bit later.
Now, did Furaime go to the left half of Swamp at all, or did he just nope out after the big chest?
Oh, it looked like he noped out. Yeah, and chat pointing out the silvers are absolutely huge for Wulfy as well. It'll be interesting to see what ends up happening. Where are you going? Furaime's turning in the fetch quest.
Yep, gonna do that shovel.
Visual glitch.
Gets a nice swag shovel.
Double swag, and for a big 20.
Well, looks like he's making the play in the pod.
It'll be real interesting to see what Furaime does if he ends up opting to take off almost immediately after getting that Ether, knowing he's in go mode. He's only looking for that Ether Medallion. Now, we know the silvers are buried a little bit further deep in pod, which would be significant for Wulfy here. Wulfy looking like going for the old-fashioned cutscene entrance into Desert Palace.
Yeah, it's not too often you see that when you do have the flute, but he was close enough that it wouldn't make too big a difference. Or Wulfy doesn't have the flute. That's right.
Oh, he's opted not to get it. Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, at this point, he really doesn't need it.
No, there was nothing in the Mire area to prompt him to do that.
Now the question is, if Wulfy doesn't find a sword soon, will he go check that Mire area before getting up there? So will he go get flute, or is he just going to go straight up to GT?
Well, let's do the math. There are 3 items in the Mire area between Misery Mire Shed, Checkerboard, and there's 2 in Mire itself, so that's 5. Versus 5 in Ganon's Tower by itself, plus Mimic Cave, plus the 22 locations that are in Ganon's Tower. I think the math says that he's going to go ahead and go on up to Death Mountain at that point in time. He's going to completely eschew going over to the Misery Mire area.
And Furaime gonna find his Ether really soon here.
Yeah, guys, remember, this is game 1 of Wulfy versus Furaime. We have the rematch, the grudge match, is going to happen at 6:30 Eastern tomorrow evening over on Speed Gaming, the original. So these two are super close. We don't know who's going to end up winning at this point in time, but be sure to tune in tomorrow night on Speed Gaming, the original. There is Ether. Furame's going to check a couple more chests for a sword, but I gotta think he's going to be out of here quick.
But he is going to find... Actually, no, I mistook which chest it was in. I thought it was that one, but it's Dark Maze. So, but he's not mirroring, so he's at least checking something else.
Oh wow, he's still clearing.
Yep, looks like he's going to go ahead and grab him.
Does he not know he's in go mode, or does he think, no, there's got to be a sword somewhere?
Right, my guess would be he's still looking for that sword.
I mean, we know this is going to be a good thing for Furaime if he continues on and gets the silvers, because that's going to save him a lot of time, especially in the straight line right now. Ooh. Yep, silvers. That's amazing for Furaime.
So it's not going to come down to a silverless Ganon, but could still come down to a Master Sword versus Tempered, depending on where we find certain things.
All right, so Furaime now on his way up to Turtle Rock. Keep in mind, Wulfy's going to be right on his tail. I mean, we are talking, a room and a half difference between Furaime and Wulfy at this point in time. They're both at Fighter Sword. They both have the same loadouts. Nothing to worry about here. This is the hype race that everyone tuned in for. So call your kids, call your wife, call all your friends. Get them over here to Speed Gaming too. This is going to be an amazing photo finish. I can words. This is going to be an amazing finish here to Wulfy versus Furaime, round 1.
Yeah, this will definitely be one for the record books, that's for sure. Furaime going to be opening up Turtle Rock with Wulfy not very far behind at all. And the only real difference between them being that flute that doesn't make a difference at this point, so they've got pretty much exactly the same layout, I'm pretty sure. Except Furame's got a couple more hearts, it looks like.
Yeah, Furame's got a couple more hearts and a flute. Wulfy's got a bug net. That's it. Like, this is going to be super hype. The next, 10-15 minutes is going to decide this, and it's going to be amazing.
So our runner's just about 30 seconds apart. And luckily, since, we do have the right items, we're going to get to do the quick trick for these torches, which is always really nice.
Yeah, with the runners being this close at this point in time, it is worth noting that, remember, 3 seconds is considered a statistical tie for these runners. So if they end up finishing within 3 seconds of one another, it is considered a tie. I honestly hope it comes down to that, because I could deal with 4 races of Furaime Wulfy. I don't know about you guys in chat, but I would.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the matchups where I would definitely enjoy seeing a 4-game race. Or match. And there's the big key.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see if Furaime ends up stealing the key or keeps on going, because, again, Still missing a sword. Man, a sword would be everything.
Indeed it would, but since they are so close to each other, it means probably both of them would end up getting it unless, you know, it's a chest that they opt to skip. English is hard.
English is hard. It's okay. Okay, so Furaime is opting for the middle chest, and it is... Oh god, a map.
Just a map.
We'll see if Wulfy does the same thing. I mean, it's a gamble. It's kind of a 50-50 coin flip sort of thing. Do you skip it, or do you opt to keep the key? And Wulfy's skipping it!
Wow, even closer of a difference between these two now.
Oh, this is so tight of a race right now.
And depending on execution, it could get even tighter.
Well, and both of these runners have been around the block so many times. Their execution is both entirely on point. You're in kind of an interesting item loadout situation with Fighter Sword. You've got to effectively commit yourself to doing Master Sword Ganon at this point in time. Wulfy going to go ahead and go on. He's skipping Mimic Cave. Furaime is not doing doing Mimic Cave. Gets half magic. I don't know how good that is for Furaime.
Wow, that is it's a nice comfort barrier, that's for sure. But that, I don't know if it'll make a huge difference, but it definitely is a difference at this point.
I mean, at very least, you're going to be able to use more Fire Rod shots on that Ice Head on Trinex, so it should save the time difference that you lose to get that. Oh my god, this is going to be so close. So Wulfy pulls ahead in the straight line lead. This is hype.
Definitely one of the closest races I've seen. And every little item is going to make the difference at this point, with these two being so close and so similar in skill.
And Wulfy, despite having 2 keys, is going to go ahead and check, see if there's going to be a sword here on Laser Bridge. There's a Master Sword!
Oh my. So now we are officially in go mode at 1 hour and 22 minutes into the seed.
Furaime is making the same call.
And both of them are still continuing to check chests, even though effectively they could finish this dungeon without him.
And Furaime says, forget that last chest, I'm going! Oh my god, there are seconds difference between these two. My god!
This is definitely the closest. I said probably before, but I can say with surety this is the closest race I've seen. At least at this point.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm going full, like, Hispanic soccer announcer at this point in time. This is so hype!
I know, I'm trying to, you know, contain my hype. It's difficult, though. This is crazy.
And this may be where, you know, that half magic comes in, because we see some extra Fire Rod shots by Furaime. And done! Oh, Furaime enters second and is first in phase 3 of Trinex.
Wulfy's not too much further behind him himself.
And Furaime with the slash and goal! Sorry, that was a request from chat. I'm sorry.
You're all good. So Furaime taking a slight lead at this point, but it is not a very big one, as Wulfy also enters the second phase of Trinex and should be done with it real quick. It looks like chat's already beat us to the chase with the big key guessing game. One of 22 locations that the big key can be in Ganon's Tower. We'd like to try to guess that if you're new. So get your guesses into the chat before we get in there, because the game stops the minute Furaime enters the tower.
Sorry about your ears, guys. I'm legitimately sorry.
I don't blame you one bit. It's definitely deserved of the hype that this race is generating.
All right, so this might come down to a right-left gamble on this point in time. Furaime and Wulfy. Oh my god, so Furaime's going to start over here on the right side.
One 5 rupees and 2 10 arrows, so not a lot. And we cannot go to the right side because no key.
Forced left side dip, unless Wulfy, for whatever reason, does the famed Dark Magician strat where you start on the left in order to guarantee yourself a key and then head over to the right afterwards. We'll see what Wulfy opts to do here.
He is starting on the right side, so he's going to have to dip out, same as Furaime, to jump to the left. Now Bob is going to live today. There's nothing useful on that torch. And there it is!
Oh my god! That was what, 1, 2. Oh, and the last treasure chest had the cape! Oh my god!
I believe that was location number 7, if I have counted right.
That was location
or
6.
Yeah,
6. Cape was in 7. If Wulfy does not open that 7th chest, that cape is so huge when you have to do, Master Sword fights.
Okay, he's
gonna go ahead and open. Oh my god!
They're making pretty much exactly the same calls at this point, except for Wulfy skipping Mimic Cave. But now it's just a question of who can get up the tower faster and who can survive the fight better. Furaime does have that half magic, which with the cape actually could end up making a difference.
And Wulfy, remember, skipped half magic being in Mimic Cave, which put him in the lead for like 10 seconds. Oh my god.
This is nutty. Furaime starting up the gauntlet.
Furaime starting up the gauntlet. Wulfy right there. I might have to resign after this. This is like the most hype race I've ever had the privilege of commentating. And for those people who have followed Speed Gaming and Link to the Past Randomizer, I've done a few.
You have indeed. I see your name around a lot. And Wulfy's starting up the gauntlet. I don't know an exact time, but they're about, what was that, 45 seconds, a minute apart?
Oh, less than a minute apart. This is so hype getting through this.
This is crazy. And I know I keep saying that, but it really is. Like, holy cow, guys.
Oh, did not quite get the 1 cycle. All 3 are still open for Furaime. Okay, got 2.
And there's the 3rd.
Wulfy has an opportunity to catch up if he can get a 0 cycle Lenmo.
Was a somewhat difficult pattern, but we'll see what happens as he comes up to it. 1, 2, and not quite 3.
Not quite, but still some opportunity to gain some advantage here.
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
So, yep. Furaime on her way up, have this horrible, and we're getting ready for Lamp Room. Oh! And the guards are being so unfriendly!
Again, every little thing counts at this point.
Everything counts. There is, at this point in time, oh my god, I want to go over and check to see who won, but I don't want to. This is so hype.
Don't do it. Stay here.
Not gonna do it.
I didn't even think about that, to tell you the truth. And no Ganon Tower despawn for Furaime, so that's good news.
Wulfy also getting hit a little bit by those guards, so has a slightly better hellway, but not that much better. Furaime is opting to go ahead and do it.
Frame opening one chest there, and then noping out on the second. And Furaime enters Trolldorm. Man, my heart is beating so fast right now.
Absolutely. Wulfy opts to open the other two treasure chests, does not find anything in those. Furaime has already checked that. We only have one treasure chest left.
Just a piece of heart in the Moldorm chest, so that'll be the last item of the run. And we got Furaime going into our geometry lesson, getting a double.
Yep, agonimimetry. It's like trigonometry, only more fun.
And was that a single? I think that was a single.
I think that was a single, yeah.
And a double. And done. Wulfy starting off with the same double. Man, making up even more time, Wulfy. Because that should do it.
Oh my god!
Oh man. These runners are now only about 10 seconds apart.
Holy smokes.
At this point, it comes down to Ganon fight execution, which was Master Sword. A lot can go wrong.
So Furaime hits 50 seconds, 31:50. And he fancies himself a spicy barbacoa burrito and is using Slags with the Canis Aria in order to place it down so that when he bonks across, gets through. That is amazing heads-up play there.
Ring getting some nice doubles.
Wulfy also getting some interesting doubles here.
All in the corner. Furaime gets a really good setup there. This should get him the rest of the hits he needs.
Keep in mind, Wulfy's going to get the same setups here. I mean, that's the nice thing about Ganon is even though everything is randomized, both runners are going to get the identical setup, so there's no advantage in the randomness there.
Doesn't look like Furaime got quite enough hits in, though.
Phase 3 for Furaime. This is awesome. Wulfy right there as well.
I would not be surprised at all to see this come out to a tie between these two.
Worth noting, Furaime they both got the cape, but cape strats apparently don't matter. None of them have done it. First silver for Furaime, and does not get the torch glitch.
But
and the triple for Furaime!
Oh my gosh.
Holy cow, Furaime! And GG Furaime! Finishing with an official time of 1:33:47 with the win! Oh my god, Furaime!
And there's Wulfy's last hit. Wow, that race was definitely something.
That was an amazing close race. Neck and neck. Oh,
With Wulfy
I'm gonna
finishing
need a cigarette after that one.
Yeah, Wulfy finishing with a time of 1:34:14. So that is, let's see, 1:33:47 to 34:14. I'm bad at math.
It was about 29-second difference between the two.
So not quite 30 seconds difference between that crazy seed.
Oh my goodness. Let's see if we can get these racers in here. That was, if game 2 and possibly game 3 is as hype as this, it's going to be amazing. Keep in mind, the rematch is going to be tomorrow on Speed Gaming the Original, the same time at 6:30 Eastern Time.
Yeah, so definitely get that marked on your calendars if you guys enjoyed this race, because I can guarantee you the next one is also going to be really hype.
Furaime is actually not going to join us, having some internet issues from across the pond here.
Yep, but it looks like he is going to join us in chat. So if you got any questions for him, go ahead and post them. But Furaime, GG, that was crazy race.
That was so hype. I hope you are entertained on the way back. Wulfy getting ready to join us here. And GG to Wulfy. This is likely the most intense race I have seen in this entire tournament, sir.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a fun one. Interesting seed. And glad it was so close.
Yeah, not even 30 seconds apart you guys finished. That was nail-biting, but definitely one of the best races I've seen.
I mean, you both were kind of neck and neck up through Turtle Rock. You went through It's interesting. You had just a slight lead in the second half of Turtle Rock. The difference was Furaime opted to check Mimic Cave, which had half magic, which allowed for a slightly cleaner Trinex fight. So by the end of it, I mean, Furaime pulled ahead through the Trinex fight, and then just never really gave up that lead. You fought hard through the entirety of the gauntlet. Had a cleaner Landmo fight, had a cleaner Aga 2 fight, but it just wasn't enough to get through that.
Yeah, Trinex is really rough. It's not every day you have to do them with less than tempered swords, so a lot of problems there.
Yeah, it's definitely not an easy one, that's for sure. But other than that, how do you feel the rest of the seed went, like with your routing choices and everything?
It was pretty cool to get flippers as the go mode item, so I didn't have to do left side swamp, didn't have to even touch ice or mire.
Oh yeah, I guess that's another difference between the two, is Furaime actually found the flippers a lot earlier on, and so he went and grabbed that flute. So that might have made a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, unfortunately it did lead to me basically clearing the rest of the world, because I left Skull Woods until last, and I couldn't really go anywhere else. I didn't want to go there without a sword, but that was pretty much the only place where you could get a sword.
We were able to figure out kind of logically after your sequence break up into Death Mountain that the flippers almost had to be locked behind either Thieves Town and Skull Woods. Was that in the back of your mind as you were doing that kind of mid-game routing there?
I wouldn't say so, but at a certain point I knew my progression had to be in Skull. But I was staying productive up until then anyway, so it wasn't too bad. And the dip into pod paid off nicely.
Yeah, we were actually worried for a while that Furaime would be doing pretty much everything else except dipping pod for that Ether Medallion, but ended up dipping that relatively early, and we had a race. I mean, it was effectively a straight line. It was, from the time that you both got your last crystal, it was only about 20 to 30 seconds difference from that point on, and it was amazing. I really hope you're entertained if you go back and watch this.
Yeah, that should be a fun one to go back and watch.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it as well. Again, it was really fun to watch. But do you feel there's anything you want to do to prepare for your guys' race tomorrow at all, or?
Just my usual warm-up. Don't think I'll be doing anything special.
Gotcha.
All right. Any last minute thoughts, Wulfy, as we're getting ready to wrap things up here?
No. Just glad we could put on a good show, and hopefully the other races are close as well.
I hope so too, and I'm rooting for you for game 2 just because I won a 3rd match in this amazing setup.
Yeah, I'll try and create as much hype and bring us to game 3 if possible.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Wulfy. GG to Wulfy and Furaime. Moving through here, Furaime with the win of less than 30 seconds. If you haven't followed both of these runners, go ahead and do that. It's the easiest way to support the runners, Furaime and Wulfy. Remember, the rematch is going to be tomorrow on Speed Gaming at 6:30 Eastern. Go ahead and just mark your calendars because there's so much hype to be had. You might as well do it. Other matches that are going on, one that just started a second ago, Unfit versus Violet Pumpkin over on ALTTP Randomizer. Looks like ACMLM versus Prior 57 is going on here in about 15 minutes over on ALTTP Randomizer 2. At 9 o'clock Eastern, we have J Copes for Life versus J Misha right here on Speed Gaming 2, so stay tuned for that if you are so inclined. And we also have at 9:30 on Speed Gaming 4, Salty Fry versus Number Play, and on ALTTP Randomizer 3, Arias 13 versus the one and only Willard J. Bradley. So, still lots of randomizer. If you have not gotten your randomizer fix tonight, this is a good night to tune in.
Yeah, definitely. And real quick before we head out, I just want to give a special shout out to my co-commentator, Vitasia. This was a really fun race to watch or commentate with, and especially also our tracker, Regaro, for doing such an amazing job.
Oh, I need to point out that the Speed Gaming 4 race later tonight, Salty Fry versus Number Play, is actually also going to be dual cast in French. If you go to Speed Gaming, I'm going to mispronounce it. Francois. No, Francois is the name. I mispronounce it. Speed Gaming French on Speed Gaming 4, Salty Fry Number Play.
Yeah, so definitely go check that out. That's not too often we get dual cast, so that's really cool.
Francais, that's right. Francais. I need to get that down. Now, Speed Gaming 4 and Speed Gaming Francais.
Perfect. And also, one last shout out to the chat. You guys made this really fun, and I really enjoyed being one of the commentators for this race.
Oh man, this is Dark and Sky. This was one of the more fun matches. Thank you so much for commentating with me, and thank you so much, Reg, for doing the tracking for us. You doing the behind the scenes stuff allowed us to kind of play it loose and fast, and we had fun.
Yeah, definitely. But with that, I think we're pretty much wrapped up here, aren't we?
Absolutely. So signing off here from Speed Gaming, my name's Vitasia.
And I'm Dark and Sky.
And we'll see you guys at the next match. Have a good one.
Later.